there are a number of theories that people espouse as to why exactly this happened. Michelle Alexander wrote a very famous book, The New Jim Crow, which essentially argues that that this extreme enforcement, this very ferocious enforcement regime that was put in place was rather intentionally designed to subjugate African Americans, to be a replacement for the old Jim Crow system of segregation. Others would say that this is actually more a kind of natural phenomenon of that the crime rates did go up and that these factors happened, and maybe it was an inadvertent, a terrible outcome, but it wasn't designed to turn out the way that it did. But what's your view? Is there a specific racial animus baked into what happened that's directed at African Americans?
No, I think there absolutely is. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to think that there wouldn't be, because we never really dealt with the narrative of racial difference that created slavery and lynching and segregation. We didn't deal with that in the 1960s. And so I think it would be kind of foolish to believe that that's going to go somewhere when we haven't talked about it. And so it manifests itself in the criminal justice system. Police violence was epidemic in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. It just never stopped, as it hasn't today. And we tolerated abuse. I mean, you don't have to say, oh, let me come up with a set of laws that will get all the black and brown people in jails and prisons for it to be baked in this kind of racial animus. You can just say, let me exploit the people who don't have power. Let me target the people who can't push back when I begin to enforce drug laws. And I'll be able to say, I've done a lot to put people in jails and prisons, and it'll turn out all the people I've put in are black and brown. But there's an indifference to that, which you can't disconnect from this history. There was never a time over the last 40 years where parents wanted police raiding dorms on college campuses like the University of Virginia or Yale or any state university that we can identify. Parents wouldn't have tolerated that. There was never a time when the police could go into a middle-income or an upper-income neighborhood, put up barricades on both sides of the street, trap people in their homes, and then do drug searching and expect to get reelected, reinforced. But in the poor community, in the projects, you could do that with impunity. You could do that and people would cheer you. And that's because of the status of these communities. And it has everything to do with race. It has everything to do with our history of not valuing the victimization of people of color the way we value the victimization of other people.